up everybody, this is Murtaza Kurdi, and in this chapter we are going to learn about types in programming. So first and foremost, a type specifies a set of values and operations that we can perform on them. In this chapter we are going to learn how to handle different types. Next, we are going to learn how to convert between types, and then we'll move on to the type inference, which is another great advantage of Kotlin programming language. Next, we are going to learn about pair and triple, which will allow us to create our own types. And finally, we are going to learn about any, unit, and nothing types. These types are the most important types that we are going to learn in this chapter. In the next video, we are going to... Hey, what's up everybody? This is Murtaza Kurdi, and in this video, we are going to learn about type conversion in Kotlin. So first of all, sometimes we have data in one format and we want to convert it to another format. How we can do that? For example, in this case, we have a variable of type integer. We have another variable of type double. So now I want to convert this double value to this integer value. How I can do that? For example, I want to say my int number variable, assignment operator, my decimal number variable. So here I am simply saying that the value of this my decimal number variable should be converted to an integer value, and then it will be assigned to this variable, my int number. But as you can see, it's not gonna work. Why? So if you hover over this error area, it says type mismatch, required integer. So this means that this variable, my int number, needs an integer value, but we have found a double value. The double value is this value that we have here. So it says we cannot assign a value of type double to a variable of type integer. So here, let me tell you that whenever we refer to the name of a variable, we want to access the value of that variable. So here, when I'm saying my decimal number, I'm actually referring to this value, this decimal value 15.7, and I want to assign this value to my variable, my int number. Just remember that, okay? So here we have a problem. We cannot convert this double value to this integer value in this way. How we can solve this problem? The solution is this. We can say my decimal number dot toInt. So we use the dot notation in order to call this method on our decimal number, toInt, with this empty parenthesis. Now you can see the error is gone. So now this decimal value is converted to an integer value, and now we are allowed to assign this integer value to this my int number variable. So here let me just print out these values to the console. So now you have an idea of what's going on here. First, let's print out the value of the my int number. Then let's go ahead and print out the value of this my decimal number variable. And finally, after converting this decimal number to an integer value and assigning it to our my int number variable, I'm gonna print out this value to the console. My int number. Okay, let's go ahead and run our project. So remember what I told you about the flow of the program. It is from top to bottom. So first of all, it is going to output the value of this my int number variable, number 10. Then it's going to output the value of this my decimal number variable, number 15.7. Then we are converting the value of this variable, my decimal number, to an integer value, and then we are assigning the result to this my int number. So the result is outputted to the console, number 15. So you can see there is no decimal point here. The decimal point is gone. The number after decimal point is gone. Why? Because it is now converted to an integer value. We have a loss of data here. So you should always be careful about the loss of data when you are converting a value from one type to another. In the next video, we are going to learn about operators and mixed types in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video, we are going to learn about operators and mixed types. Okay, imagine that we have a boxer, and this boxer has a punch power and punch speed variable. So the value of this punch power variable is of type integer. So we assigned a value of type integer to this variable. And this boxer has also punch speed. It is of type double actually. And we assigned a value of type double to this variable. So far, so good. So now imagine that I want to calculate the overall performance of my boxer. And I also want precision here. I want the result to be of type double. So now you can see that we have this punch power of type integer. So I'm going to say punch power multiplied by punch speed, which is of type double. So let me create a new line so that you can see what's going on here. So here you can see that we have the punch power of type integer and the punch speed of type double. Now you might think that the compiler is going to complain because of these mixed types. But that is not the case here. The compiler is going to automatically calculate the result to be of type double because one of these types is double and one of them is integer. So the compiler is going to be precise about this one. The Kotlin is going to be precise and it's going to specify the result to be of type double. In other words, this punch power variable does not need to be converted to a double value so we have a double result. Okay, we don't need to do that because the compiler is going to automatically convert this value to a double and it's going to give us a double value as the result of this calculation. So I can just say punch power multiplied by punch speed, and I can also print this value to the console in order to see the result. So println overall performance. Let's see. So in the console you can see that this value is outputted here. Okay, and notice the decimal value here, the decimal point and the decimal value, it is of type double. So hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about type inference in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this tutorial, we are going to learn about type inference in Kotlin. Okay, so now we have a variable of type integer and its name is computer RAM. The value that I assign to this variable is of type integer, number 16. So now I want to do something different. I want to delete this part of this code. I want to say that my variable doesn't have any type. So now you can see that the compiler is not complaining at all. I have a variable. Its name is computer RAM and I assigned a value of type integer to this variable. So what's the deal here? In this case, the compiler is assuming that my variable's type is actually integer. Why? Because the value that I assigned to this variable is of type integer. Number 16 is actually of type integer. So in these cases, that we do not specify the variable's type explicitly, the compiler is going to take a look at the value that we assign to the variable and it's going to assume that the variable's type is integer or any other type. For example, if I say 16.0, now the compiler thinks that the type of this variable is actually double. So how do we know what is the type that the compiler is assuming for this variable? So in order to do that, you just need to click on this name of this variable and then hold down the Shift plus Control plus P. Now notice that the compiler is showing me the data type integer. Okay, Control plus Shift plus P, the letter P. So if I change the data type of this value to double, now if I click on this variable and hold down the Control plus Shift plus P, now it says that the data type of this variable is actually double. And if I go ahead and print out this value to the console, you will see that a double value is outputted here, number 16.0. So in most cases, you can drop the data type if you like, because the compiler will do the work for us. And another important point is that it's a feature unique to Kotlin programming language and some other modern programming languages. This feature does not exist in the Java programming language. So it's another great advantage of Kotlin programming language. And here I can also do something else. So notice that the value double is assigned to this variable, right? So what if I say number 16.0 dot to int? Here it's gonna convert this value, this double value, to an integer value, and it's gonna assign this integer value to this variable. Now, if I click on this variable name and hold down the Control plus Shift plus P, now it's gonna say that the data type of this variable is actually integer. And if I run this project, it's gonna show us an integer value outputted to the console. Okay, so let me show you something else. For example, if I explicitly specify the data type of this variable to be double, and here if I assign a value of type integer to this variable, now we have a problem. The compiler is actually complaining, and if I hover over this error area, it says type mismatch. So it's very important that you be precise about the variable's type. So in the next video, we are going to learn about strings in programming. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this video we are going to learn about strings in programming. We use the string data type in order to represent names, words, addresses, texts. Any data that needs to be represented as text is actually going to be string. So for example, the name of your computer, the name of your pet, the name of the house, the name of your TV, the name of your sport, for example, your favorite hobbies. If you want to represent your favorite hobbies in computer, you need to use the string data type. In the next video, we are going to learn about representing strings in computers. I look forward to seeing you next. Hi there, in this video we are going to learn about representing strings in computers. So here we have a string value. Take a look at these characters. We have each character stringed to the other characters. This is actually a collection of individual characters. So what does this mean? This means that a string value consists of individual characters. So we know that computers can only understand numbers. But here we are dealing with characters, how the character can be converted to a number so that the computer can understand it. So now I want to tell you that the character is also converted to a number. And now you might ask that how can a computer convert a character to a number? So it simply assigns a different number to each character. The computer simply assigns a different number to each character. And this process is called character set. In other words, when we press a character key on our keyboard, we are communicating the number of that character to the computer. So for example, I want to type something here. So now you might ask that what is the process that is happening here? I am communicating the number of that character to the computer, right? That when I communicate the number of the character that I press on the keyboard to the computer is going to convert that number into a picture of that character, and it's gonna show me that character to me when I type the character here. So when I press the letter T on my keyboard, I am actually communicating the number of this character to the computer, and the computer is going to convert that number into the picture of this character, and it's gonna show me this letter T. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about Unicode Character Set. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about Unicode Character Set. First, let me tell you that the Unicode Character Set is the modern standard character set that is used by almost all computers around the world. So open your web browser and enter this URL, unicode.org. So when you open the unicode.org, just go to New to Unicode and then click on What is Unicode? So here it says Unicode provides a unique number for each character, no matter what the platform, no matter what the program, no matter what the language. Unicode provides a unique number for each character, no matter what the platform, no matter what the program, no matter what the language. So I strongly suggest that you read this page carefully in order to learn more about Unicode Character Set. Basically, computers, by using the Unicode Character Set, will be able to interact with each other, to communicate with each other without any confliction. For example, if one computer uses one character set and the other computer uses another character set, then if these two computers want to interact with each other, they will have problems in terms of character set. So the Unicode character set has actually solved this problem. So for example, the number associated with the letter C is 99, and the number that is associated to a character is called code point. Another important point that I want you to know about is that the Unicode character set is not just for Latin characters used in English language. The Unicode character set is used for all languages around the world. So now let me tell you something interesting about the emoji characters. These characters are also mapped by Unicode Character Set. You can search for emoji Unicode Character Set online in order to learn more. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about strings in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about strings in Kotlin. In Kotlin, in order to represent a character, we use the char data type. So for example, I want to create a constant and I'm going to name it as letter A. The data type of this constant is going to be char, as you can see here. So we get the char from the Kotlin, assignment operator, and in order to create a character literal, we use single quotes. Okay, so the character should be inside the single quotes, and then I put the letter A here. So this is how you represent a character data. And if I want to, I can output this data to the console. Let's see the result. So in the console, the letter A is outputted here. Okay, now let's go ahead and see how we can represent a string value. So here I can simply say val or var, and the name is going to be my name, colon, it is going to be of type string, assignment operator. So this time, in order to create a string literal, we use double quotes. Inside the double quote, you can create your string literal. So here I can say Morteza. Okay, now I can output this value to the console. So here it is the result. My name outputted to the console. And here we can also use the type inference feature of Kotlin. So here I can drop the data type of this character and it's gonna work as expected, because now the compiler is going to take a look at the value that we assign to this constant, and it's gonna specify the data type of this constant based on this value. And also the same for this string constant. The compiler is going to infer the data type of this constant based on this value that we assigned to this constant. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about concatenation in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about concatenation in Kotlin. So let's create a variable in order to specify our profession. So I'm going to say my profession, it is going to be of type string, and I'm going to say that it is actually I am a boxer. So one way is to say I am a boxer like this. So this is the usual way. Another way is to use the concatenation operator. So here instead I can say I, and then I can just close this string value by putting this double quote, and then I can say plus another double quote. So here I can say am space plus again double quotes a plus double quotes boxer. So this is one way to create a string value. Here I am concatenating these values together. I am actually adding these string values together, just like the math operations that we used on numbers. So here, in order to output this value to the console, let's say println my profession, and let's run the project and see what happens. So here in the console you can see this value. I am a boxer outputted here. Another way is to concatenate string variables or constants together. So here let's say that we have val, and it is going to be my name. So here I'm gonna specify my name as the value, and then I'm gonna create another variable and I'm gonna specify it as the profession, and it is going to be double quotes is a boxer. So in this way, now I want to concatenate these variables together. I can say my name, assignment operator my name plus profession. So here it's showing us an error, and if I hover over this error area, it says that the val cannot be reassigned. So in order to solve this problem, I need to change this val to var. Now the problem is solved. So here, after concatenating this value together, for example here, I am referring to the current value of this variable, Morteza, and I am concatenating this value with the value of this profession. And here it is, the value is a boxer. So the result is going to be assigned to this my name variable. So here, if I try to output this value to the console, I can say println my name. So let's see what happens. So in the console it says Morteza is a boxer. Another way to do the same exact operation is that we can also change the syntax of this line of code. So let me comment out this line of code here, and here I can say my name plus assignment operator profession. This line of code here does exactly the same as this code that we commented out. So let's run the app, and here again you can see that this value Morteza is a boxer is outputted to the console. And finally, we can concatenate a character to a string value. So here I can say my name plus assignment operator and then single quotes. So the character that I'm going to use is exclamation mark. Notice that inside the single quotes, we can only put one character. So I cannot put multiple characters here, as you can see. Otherwise, it will become a string literal. Now we are dealing with a character. Okay. Now let's go ahead and print out this value to the console. So I can say println my name. So here it is, the result. Morteza is a boxer with an exclamation mark. So notice that we didn't have to convert this character literal to a string value so that we can concatenate it to this my name string variable. The Kotlin does that conversion for us, just like the numbers. Remember when we were operating on a double value and an integer value, and I told you that the Kotlin does the conversion for us and it's gonna convert the integer to a double automatically for us? It does the same for us here. Here you can see that we are concatenating this character to a string value. So now it is already converted to a string value. In the next video, we are going to learn about string templates in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Murteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about string templates in Kotlin. By using string templates, we can create string values that is easy to read. So here let's create a variable in order to hold my age. So for example, I'm going to assign number 25 to this variable. So now I am going to create a message. I can say var message, assignment operator, double quotes. So here I can say I am. One way is to concatenate this my age to this string value. So I am plus my age plus two quotes years old. This is one way, and that is the way that is not recommended by me. I'll tell you why, but for now let's just go ahead and print this value to the console. So here it is, the value. I am 25 years old. But in Kotlin, we have string templates that uses a special syntax that is really helpful if you want to create string values that are easy to read. So what's that syntax? So instead of saying I am plus my age plus years old, I'm going to create only one string literal. So I'm going to say double quotes. Inside the double quotes, I can say I am. So I can simply put $sign here, and then I can refer to this my age variable. So in this way, we can have this my age variable here inside this string literal. And then I can say years old. So that is the syntax that I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and run the app. So now we should see the same result outputted to the console, but now it is more professional. I want you to use this syntax from now on. We can also use an operation inside a string value. So let's create a new variable and name it as addition assignment operator. So inside the double quotes, I can say 2 plus 2, and then I'm going to put $sign. So in order to have an expression inside a string value, we need to use $sign and then an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. Inside the curly braces, I can put my expression. I can say 2 plus 2. So an expression results in a value. So that's why it is actually called expression. Here, 2 plus 2 results in a value, and the value is number 4. So I can say 2 plus 2 is, and here it is the result. And let's also put this equal operator, so it is meaningful when we want to output this value to the console. So let's say println addition. Let's run the app, and here in the console, you can see it says 2 plus 2 is equal to number 4. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about multiline strings in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Murteza Kurdi, and in this tutorial, we are going to learn about multiline strings in Kotlin. So sometimes you may want to create a big string value. How you can do that? And let's say val, and its name is going to be my hobbies assignment operator. So in order to create a multi-line string, we use 3 double quotes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So notice that it should be only 3 double quotes. So we use it as the start, and we also end our multi-line string with another 3 double quotes. So I can have 1, 2, 3. And now inside these double quotes, I can enter my string value. So I can say boxing, and then in another line, I can say NLP. In another line, I can say judo, programming, yoga, video games. I have a multi-line string. And if I want to, I can output this value to the console. So I can say println my hobbies. Let's go ahead and run our project and see what happens. So these values are outputted to the console. So notice that we have some leading spaces here. In order to prevent that and in order to format our code with pretty indentations, I'm going to do something else here. Let's go back to code and let's use the pipe character here. In order to use the pipe character, you need to hold down the shift key on your keyboard and then press on the / key on your keyboard. So before each value, I'm going to use the pipe character. Okay? And then I'm going to call a method on this string value, on this multiline string value actually. I'm going to say dot trim margin. So this method is going to prevent that leading spaces and it's going to format our code with pretty indentation. So let's go ahead and run our project and see what happens. So in the console, you can see these values. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about pairs and triples in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Murteza Kurdi and in this video, we are going to learn about pairs and triples in Kotlin. For example, if you want to show x and y coordinates on a 2D grid, we use pair. So now let me show you a real world example. For example, I can say val and I can say x and y. So the type of this constant is going to be pair, and then we need to put a pair of angle brackets. So first we need to specify the x, and as the second argument we need to specify the y. So the data type of the x value is going to be integer, and the data type of the y value is again going to be integer. Okay, assignment operator, and then I need to create a pair and assign it to this constant x and y. So here I can say pair. So notice that first we need to specify the first value, which is going to be of type integer. Why? Because we specified the data type of the first value to be integer. So the first value is going to be 10, comma, and now we need to specify the second value, which is going to be integer, and it is 20. So here it is my pair. So now I'm gonna output some values to the console. I'm gonna say x and y dot. So here we have first property and second property. If I want to access the first value, number 10, I need to say first. So if I go ahead and run the app, you should see number 10 outputted to the console. So here it is, number 10. And I can also output the value of the second. So I can say x and y dot second. And if I run the app, number 20 is outputted to the console. And by the way, we can allow the type inference to infer the data type of the values of our pair. So here I can simply drop the data type of my constant, and the compiler is going to specify the data type of the values based on the numbers or values that we pass to this pair. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you don't like this syntax, Kotlin has another way so that you can enjoy writing the pair statements. So here I can say val, and I can say x and y with 2. So notice that we have number 10 as the first and number 20 as the second. So instead of saying pair and passing these numbers to the pair, I can say 10 to 20. So this is the simplest syntax that we can use to create a pair. And I can easily say println x and y with 2 dot first. Okay? Or I can say println x and y with 2 dot second. So let's go ahead and run the app. So we should see number 10 and number 20 outputted to the console. And instead of integer, we can have double or any other numeric types here. And we can also have mixed types. So here I can create another constant, val, and I can say pair. And the name is going to be mixed pair, assignment operator. So here I can say, for example, number 3.5 to 7. So the first value is 3.5, a double value, and the second value is an integer value. And the final point that I want to talk about is that we can assign the coordinates of a pair to specific and individual variables. So for example, I can say val, and I can put a pair of parentheses here. The first value is going to be x, the second value is going to be y. And I can say assignment operator, and I can refer to this mixed pair. So what do you think is going to be the value of the x and y? The value of the x is going to be 3.5, and the value of the y is going to be 7. Why? Because we are assigning this mixed pair to this x and y, and you can see that the first value and the second value is specified here in order. So here if I say println x, and if I pass the x here, it's going to show me the autocomplete feature of the IDE is going to refer to this x, which is going to be of type double. Why? Because 3.5 is of type double. It is inferred by the compiler. So let's go ahead and run the app and see what happens. So in the console, number 3.5 is outputted here. I can also say println y. And now, if I run the app, it's gonna output number 7 to the console, as you can see here. So now let's learn about triple, but first let me comment out these lines of code that are related to pair. So triple is about creating a set of coordinates on a 3D grid. So let me show you a real world example and then it will completely make sense. So let's say val, and the name is going to be x, y, z, and then I'm going to specify the type to be triple, and then inside the angle brackets we need to specify the data type of each component of each coordinate. So I want to specify the data type of the x to be integer, the data type of the y is going to be double, and the data type of the z is going to be float. Okay, assignment operator, and then I can say triple. So now we need to specify the value of the first, second, and third. The first is going to be integer, so I'm going to pass number 10, comma. The second is going to be double, I'm going to pass number 20.5, comma. The third is going to be float, so I'm going to pass number 30.9, and because it is float, we need to add the letter F at the end of the value, in order to let the compiler know that we are actually referring to a float value, not double. Okay, so here I just need to say println xyz dot first, and we can also output the value of the second and third. So let's run the app and see what happens. So these values are outputted to the console, integer, double, and float. And here we can also do something else. We can say val and just put a pair of parentheses. So it is going to be x2, comma, y2, comma, and z2. And then I can put an assignment operator and I can refer to this x, y, z triple that I created above in line number 25. So in this way, if I want to, I can output these values again to the console. I can refer to x2, y2, and z2. So let's run the app and see what happens. So here are the values again outputted to the console. And the final point that I want to tell you about the pair or triple is that, for example, here in this case, if I want to ignore the z2 value, I can instead put the underscore here. If I use the underscore, it's gonna ignore the z value. And here in line number 36, we cannot access the z2 anymore. So I'm gonna comment out this line of code. And if I run the app, you can see that it's gonna only output the value of the x2 and y2. Sometimes you may only want to work with the first and second value, or the x or y value. You want to completely ignore the z value. So this is useful for those cases. About the pair also, you can actually ignore, for example, one of these components and just instead use an underscore. So hopefully that makes sense. In the next video, we are going to learn about numeric types in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about numeric types in Kotlin. So first let me tell you that if you are familiar with the C-based programming languages, you know that we have primitive data types and object types in most of those languages. For example, in Java, we have the primitive data type int, and we also have an object type integer, right? So we have two data types for one numeric type. What's the difference? Why do we need two data types for one numeric type? So first of all, a primitive data type takes up less memory. So it's memory friendly to use a primitive data type. So because a primitive data type takes up less memory, it is better for performance. But the primitive data type is limited in terms of features that an object type might have. So that's why we should be careful about choosing the proper data type for our program in most of those C-based programming languages. But in Kotlin, it's another story. In Kotlin, we don't have to worry about choosing primitive or object types. Kotlin handles that complexity for us. So it's easy for us, okay? For example, if we want to create a variable of type integer, we only need to use int. That's it. We don't have to worry about a primitive or an object type. Okay, so open your web browser and search for Java 8 primitive data types ranges. And then here, click on the link that says cs-fundamentals.com, Java primitive data type size, range and default value. So just click on this link. So here, let me show you the table. So here it is the table that you should learn about. You don't have to memorize these values here, but it's good to learn about this table here. For example, the first integer type that you can see is called byte. 1 byte is 8 bits. And here it is the range of values that this data type can hold. Minus 128 is the minimum value that this data type can hold, and 127 is the maximum value that this data type can hold. The same as this one, short. Short is 16 bits integer, and here it is the minimum and maximum values. So here we've got the integer itself, 4 bytes, the minimum and maximum value, long data type, 8 bytes, float, double, char and boolean. So these are the primitive data types that you're going to work with in this course. But here let me tell you that most of the times we are going to use the integer data type unless we have a good reason not to. Okay? Sometimes your application or your program is going to interact with other programs that uses other data types. So in those cases, it's better to use a specific data type that we want to work with. So now let's learn about the data types that will hold fractional numbers. First, we've got the 32-bit float, and we also got the 64-bit double. So the double holds more numbers than the float. So I told you that the double data type is more precise than the float data type. And if you want to know about the minimum and the maximum values that these two data types can hold, you can search online in order to find the answer. But I'm here to tell you that it's not that important to exactly know what is the minimum or maximum value that these two data types can hold. What's important is that the double data type is going to hold more numbers, more digits than the float data type. That's important. Another important point that I want you to know is that we use the double data type most of the times. The modern hardware has been optimized for the double data type. So that's why it's better to always use double unless you have a good reason not to. Okay? Always consider these points that I have talked in this tutorial when you want to choose a data type in order to represent your data. And now let's go into code and see some real-world examples. So as you can see here, we've got some constants here, and you can see that I have specified the data type explicitly. So we've got the byte data type, the short, integer, and the long data type. So here are the values that I have assigned to these variables. So for example, I told you that the maximum value that the byte data type can hold is 127, right? So now let's change this number to 128. Now it is showing us an error, and it says that the integer literal does not conform to the expected type byte. So this means that the byte data type cannot hold a value larger than 127. So let's change this value to 127, and now the problem is solved. And we can also add these values together. So for example, I can say val int result, because we know that all of these numbers are integers. So I can say assignment operator byte number plus short number plus int number plus long number, int result. Let's run the app and see the output. So here it is, the result that is outputted to the console. Let's see another example. So now we've got a float number of type float, and notice that if you want to create a float number or float literal, you should always use the letter F at the end of your value. Otherwise, the compiler will think that you are using a double value. And then we've got the double number of type double, and here it is the value. Then we've got the decimal result, float number plus double number. Now I'm gonna output this result to the console. So here it is, the result, outputted to the console. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about any, unit, and nothing types in Kotlin. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody, this is Morteza Kordi, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about any, unit, and nothing types. So first, let's learn about the any type. The any type is the mother of all types. Let's get into code, and I'm gonna show you a real world example, and then it will completely make sense. So for example, let's say that we want to create a variable or constant of type integer. So I can say val, and I can say int number. Okay, so I'm gonna specify the type to be any, because the any data type is the mother of all types. So if I put an assignment operator here and I assign the value 100, this integer literal 100, to this constant, you can see that the compiler does not complain and it's okay with this type, right? Or I can, for example, say val, and I can create a string variable. I can say string value as the name of my constant, and I can specify the data type to be any, assignment operator, and here I can say, for example, my name. So now, again, the compiler is okay with this type. So that's why we can use any for any other types that we have learned so far. And we can also output these values to the console and make sure that everything is working as normal. So I can say int number and also the string value. Let's run the app and see the results. So these values are outputted to the console. Later in the course, we will see more use cases of the any type. For now, you should just know that the any type is the mother of all types, okay? For now, don't worry about this data type. We'll learn more about this one later in the course. So now it's time to learn about the unit data type. It is a type that we are going to learn more about later in the course when we are going to learn about the functions in Kotlin. The unit means void. Void means it returns nothing. For example, I tell you to develop an Android application, right? You are going to develop an Android application, but you are not going to return anything to me. You will not return anything to me. You are going to just do the work, okay? The unit data type means you just do the work and you do not return anything. That's it. That's the meaning of the unit. But again, don't worry about this data type. We'll learn more about this one later in the course. And now it's time to learn about the nothing type. The nothing type doesn't return anything, again, the same as the unit type, but also the nothing type indicates that it never completes. Something never completes. That's the meaning of the nothing type. We are going to learn about this one later in the course, and I am going to also show you some of the states that means nothing. Okay? We'll learn more about this one, and somehow this type means that there is a bug inside our application, and in other cases this means that a condition never ends, so we are always checking for a specific condition in our application. But again, don't worry, don't get confused, we'll learn more about this one later. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn about the key points and the chapter exercises. I look forward to seeing you next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Morteza Kordi, and in this video I am going to talk about the key points and the exercises of this chapter. So here are the key points. First of all, we use the type conversion in order to convert a value of one type into another. Kotlin will automatically convert the types for you when we are using arithmetic operations. So for example, if we multiply one integer number with another double number, then the Kotlin will automatically convert the result to be double. The type inference feature allows us to omit the type if the compiler already knows what is the type of our variable or constant based on the value that we assign to our variable or constant. We use the Unicode standard in order to map the characters to numbers. A single process of mapping in Unicode is called a code point. So remember, mapping means that we convert a character into a number. Okay, this process is called mapping, and a single process of mapping is called a code point. Hopefully that makes sense. The character data type holds one single character inside a single quotes, and the string data type holds a collection of characters inside a double quotes. In order to concatenate the string or character values together, we use the plus operator that we use in arithmetic. We can also build a string in place by using the string templates. It's basically about using a $sign in order to refer to our variable or constant names in a string value and access their values. It's basically about using the $sign in order to refer to our variable or constant names and using their values. The pairs and triples are used to group data into a single data type. We also have access to a lot of numeric data types with different storage or size and precision capabilities that we can use in our projects. But remember, for integer values, we usually use integer, and for fractional numbers, we usually use double. And finally, we've got the any, unit, and nothing types. So the any type is the mother of all types that we've seen so far. Then we've got the unit type, which basically means void. So if you are familiar with other programming languages, you should know that the void means that one function doesn't return anything. We do not expect anything from a function. And finally, we've got the nothing type. So the nothing type means nothing basically. It means pure nothing. Nothing is going to happen actually. Okay, so now let's take a look at the exercises. So first of all, create 10 integer constants, and here I want you to omit the type of your constants and allow the compiler to specify the type of your constants based on the values that you assign to your constant. Next, go ahead and convert your constants to double and then print the result to the console. Then go ahead and create 10 string variables. So here you just need to brainstorm a little bit and think about real world objects and create 10 string variables. Next, go ahead and concatenate 3 of those variables together and create one string value and then print the result to the console. Next, go ahead and use the string templates and create a string value in place. So you can use the $sign in order to, for example, add the integer constants that you created above and then use them inside a string value. Then go ahead and create 5 pairs and finally create 5 triples. In the next chapter of the course, we are going to learn about basic control flow. I look forward to seeing you next.